Hello everyone again and welcome back to Less Than Epic. This is your pal Nova and I'll be jumping into an MMO we haven't covered on this channel yet, Chronicles of Elyria, with a news breakdown.
Oh, let's break it down!
Alrighty, good afternoon my epic army. Let's kick this off really quick with an explanation of what this game is. Chronicles of Elyria, COE for short, is a sandbox MMO in development by Soulbound Studios and offers what could be an interesting mechanic: death. Yes, as in your character will die forever, but it's not quite permadeath and it's not quite the end. You will be reborn into a new body as one of your offspring and will be able to continue your family legacy. From what I gather and understand, you will accumulate skills through life. Some of those skills are passed down to future generations, but not all. For example, you could be a blacksmith, get pretty good at blacksmithing in your first life, and then die. Your child, aka next character, will gain some of those traits and some of those skills and start over at the bottom, but will grow much faster and be able to actually become a better blacksmith. They expect a character to live about one real life year, at which point you will need to buy a new character. So that's it. That's the business model. Buy a character, aka game time, for between $20 and $40 US once a year. I'll post a link in the description below to the FAQs on their website, and you are welcome to explore their website to get more info on the game, because this video is about the upcoming changes as they plow through pre-alpha into Alpha 1. So they are currently at the completion of 0.4.0 and are pushing into 0.5.0. They have been working to get a lot of game systems up and running to this point, including moving and interacting with the world. They tested some of this through a MUD client, internally called ElyriaMUD, which is pictured in this video. With this, they were able to test gameplay mechanics without involving the content team. Now, I'm sure some of you would love to play this, but it looks like it'll forever be a development tool and will never come to public use. But they wanted to create something that alpha backers could get in on and help test. This started out as a very basic WebGL based game with voxels called VoxElyria. It was created to allow testing of some early game elements while not requiring much graphical work, and they even planned to reuse sprites. This was originally done in 2D, but they decided to move to 3D, and thus VoxElyria was reborn in 3D voxels. This was working well, but with the release of 0.3.0, they soon found out that it wasn't perfect. First off, while it did allow them to quickly create and test mechanics, lots of mechanics weren't melding into the full COE client well, due to camera angles for example. They noted combat crafting and world interaction began to suffer, and obviously those are three very important systems to get right the first time. Secondly, while they could create assets quickly due to the voxel style, voxel is very limited with animations and layers, so testing stuff that requires animations or equipment layers like armor could not be effectively tested in VoxElyria. And lastly, since they used WebGL for this client, it was hard to test client integration and move it to the COE client. So they caved and have since moved everything into Unreal 4, the engine of the final COE client. They are currently still using low poly meshes that can be developed quickly and will now be able to test things properly. But with the move away from voxels, they had to change the name. VoxElyria was killed off, for PreElyria was born. Cell shade was chosen as the art style to keep it different from the final form. That is what they finally landed on and are using right now to move forward. And that, ladies and gents, ends our story of how they got to this point. So to wrap up this video, we will cover some of the systems they worked on specifically in 0.4.0. First off is AI. They are looking to make a goal-based, need-based AI system complete with node graph. Pictured is a quick glance at a fun node graph they made to handle NPC interaction. Framework to develop the crafting systems was put into place, which will help them develop these in the future. Doing this allowed them to create some world interaction things like wells, water fountains, fire pits, tents, and bedrolls. In 0.4.0, they worked on the family narrative system. This is a series of background prompts and historical narrative that players will go through during character creation that allows them to find a matching family and a set of starting skills and values and attributes. They also worked on a personal destiny system which takes the year, month, and day of the character's birth and generates a set of conflicts and unique story arcs that the character might experience in their lifetime. Souls now bring in the skill ramps and other systems with them, such as getting better at blacksmithing. It's now possible to swap to an alternate identity which changes the way NPCs interact with you. Think of it as wearing a disguise. They didn't go into full detail here, but it sounds like you can try to pull off some pretty shady stuff. The identity system also is used by the contract system. Contracts are live in the game and working as intended. He said the system is really deep and cool and would break it down later in a journal entry, which I will cover when it comes out. They implemented server-side weather instead of client-side weather so that the weather systems can blow through and change the world, such as temperatures, humidity, and weather patterns. This will come into play in the next section, basic survival mechanics. These are in place such as fatigue, energy, hunger, and thirst. During this last update, they added incapacitation and spirit walking. As I said earlier, this is not quite permadeath, as your character can be incapacitated during his life and spirit walk and respawn, but they will not fully die. They said that this would maybe limit your lifespans, but they're not sure exactly how they're going to work that system out. They also added wounds and status effects such as hemostasis. And lastly, with the addition of fire pits and weather, you now have to control your body temperature. They worked a lot with the skill system and have significantly streamlined it. Stay tuned for a blog on skills knowledge and related mechanics, and again, we will cover that as it comes out. They have been through a few iterations of combat so far. The original came out in 2016 and was shown at PAX East. This was a combat system which just requires you to swing and counter with left mouse and right mouse, and they found it really easy to get into and really hard to master, and they liked it. But in their second version they stripped it down a lot because they wanted to focus on their parkour system and movement around the map. And now they're coming up on their third iteration of this, and since they found that the first one was maybe a little too easy and not quite exciting enough, they're looking to build in stances, which will make more variety into combat. Map voting. This is kind of exciting. They will be launching a map voting contest very soon for each server where their players will vote and choose which map their server will end up with. This will show biomes and everything and make servers completely different, which is another cool thing. This, I believe, is the first ever MMO to allow you to pick the map for your server. And after they have the map chosen, at a little bit later date, they will actually start picking who owns the counties and stuff like that. So this is pretty cool. And that wraps up our coverage on Chronicles of Elyria for this time around. I'll continue to keep tabs on this game as stuff comes in. While they do a good job of pushing information out, they don't seem to be on a monthly schedule like Ashes of Creation. So I'll do a video on updates when I get them, and if there is enough content to warrant a video. If you guys enjoy news about Chronicles of Elyria, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and I will change my focus a little and put more energy into it. Currently I've been focused pretty hard on Ashes of Creation, but I am willing to do what you people want. I will be your slave, unless your name is Blister. Thank you everyone, have a good day, and get good scrubs.
Hey, it's Ratted here. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe as well. It really helps out the channel. We put out multiple new videos each week and we appreciate all of your support. Thanks for watching everyone, and cheers.